can tell our friends, and they can have my things when we're dead. But we gonna live forever. But we gonna live forever. You can tell our friends.
The first just guy shit.
Just guy shit.
The first podcast exclusively for the boys, for the dogs, for the lads. Put the headphones down, ladies. It's time to make a sandwich. Episode brought to you by Forbidden Clothes Week now. The first and foremost, when reality hits, I'd like to just say congratulations to football for officially coming out as gay.
Gay!
As part of the community. And what a week to do it. What a month to do it for football.
Oh, you can do a Gay Pride Month.
Well, I'm just hoping that, I don't know if you saw the commercial, but football is gay. Football is queer. Football is trans.
I can't wait for it.
It's a trans sport. Football is also, because it's also soccer in England. That's why.
Yeah.
That's what they were referring to when they said. But I think that.
There's a lot of football players in the NFL too who watch that and they go,
Yo, I'm not gay, dude.
Yeah, they were like,
no, I'm not gay.
A lot of SMDH text.
Well, I don't know if you read this, but figure skating came out as actually straight.
What?
Yeah, male figure skating. They said, well, now that football said that, contrary to popular belief, figure skating straight as fuck.
We're trying to carve out a little section with the straight people.
Well, they said they're the straightest sport in the world, and figure skating said they're the straightest sport in the world. They said they don't even touch their own dick. Figure skating said they won't even change in a change room with another man because they just show up.
They just show up to the figure skating event fully.
They wear their skates because they don't want another fucking perv in the room looking at their feet.
That's like the hockey. I never really played, but like the hockey thing where some kids just like show up fully like ready to go.
Well, they don't want fucking pervert coach. The ultimate in pedophile jobs is a coach, and even only one higher than that is a scout. Because your literal job as a scout. Me and Garrett Jameson were talking about this back in the day, but your job as a scout is you sit in the stands and watch kids and you go, yeah, that one's good. He'll do. Oh, yeah.
Plus, you can also promise them, and you're like, hey, man, you do this. And
we get that guy around.
You'll be in the pros, kid.
Oh, we need to get that guy in the mix. Yeah. Talk to his parents. Yeah, I'd really like to see more of that kid.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate in jobs. I want to see football start a trend. And I do, again, congratulate them, but I think that they haven't gone far enough. And more importantly, I'd like to see other sports, other companies take what football did and bring their company into the 2021 ethos. For example, I'd like to see maybe NASCAR come out and say they're also gay.
They're still working on just being like, NASCAR's thing will be like, NASCAR, we're not racist. That's like, they need to take baby steps.
NASCAR, I just want to see how much if you were just like a fucking red-blooded for the fucking red, blue, and white.
Yeah.
And you have to wake up and you say, oh, it's football today. And then you have to see, like, just so you know you're gay.
Yeah, just the flags. The thing, too, is they're just, the people who are mad at the kneeling for the flag, this is such a slap in the face.
Now you're kneeling to suck a dick.
Yeah, literally go, like it's just one thing.
You thought kneeling for the flag was bad? Guess what?
And it's like, was the most macho straight sport that existed. It was a bunch of dudes literally killing each other.
They should have two guys in red, blue, and white bondage, kneeling, sucking a dick. If football really cared, that's what they'd do. Football says they care.
They say they care.
But then when it comes to sucking a dick in red, blue, and white bondage outfit, while at the same time defecating on it and coming on it, where are they to be found?
That's the new NFL.
Well, that's where NASCAR could come through and say, NASCAR just want to say, we're really fucking gay. NASCAR is trans. NASCAR is into bondage. NASCAR is bisexual.
They're into everything.
Black and Decker. Fixing your shed is gay.
It'll be like, remember the Tom Green, the Slutmobile? That'll be someone's car.
That's, the fucking the cum dumpster mobile.
The cum dumpster
NASCAR.
mobile. Just a dude's asshole spread wide open.
Black and Decker. Drills are gay. 2x4s are trans. Drinking a Bud Light is bi.
That's not.
I'd like to see drinking a Bud Light is bi. I'd like to say football come out and say tailgate parties are two men having sex. 100% of the time, tailgate parties are two men having sex.
There's a lot of people in the NFL organization who are just like, yeah, I don't know if we should do this.
No, I don't. Yeah, do you think that anyone had? Do you think there was one guy?
I mean, you also had the guy come out too, so it's like, did you even need that? That was obviously prepared before that.
I'm picturing more the opposite, where they're in the meetings And then the one guy's standing up and he says, we just decided that we're coming out as gay, blah, blah, blah. And then there's a couple, a big farm boy, just a red-blooded black guy, a black guy from fucking, the South kind of thing. He's the type of guy that pushes the big machine. You know what I'm talking about, the lawn plower machine.
A lawnmower?
No. What's that thing they call it? That's me. That's my knowledge. That's how much of an elitist
plower.
liberal I am.
The lawn
I go,
plower.
what's that thing they call the mow the lawn?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying what's it called when they push the machine? It's it's metal at football practice.
Oh, the sled.
Yeah, the sled. I've done that a bit. I played rugby a couple of years.
Yeah. I've had the sled before.
So they're in the thing. A couple of those guys are the ex-players in the meeting, and they say, we're coming out as gay. And any objections, they go, whose idea was this? And they go, it could be anyone's. They look around. They see the farm boy. They see this. Then they see one guy, ball gag. Could be anybody's idea.
No, this sounds like
Who's this guy?
This has George Soros' fingerprints all over
Oh,
it.
George Soros.
This is such a Soros move to be like,
this.
hey, let's fuck with everybody. Say football's gay, coming from the NFL. That's like a fortune. Like literally, like if you were like, oh, this is like a 4chan gag, and you'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. That sounds like something to do.
Well, did you see the George Soros one before where he said being a Jewish comedian running a financial satire site is gay? He said investing in
Soros.
He said, yeah, Soros
Shaking
had
my
his new
fist right now.
campaign that said shorting Dogecoin on
dog
margin
money
is gay.
Is gay.
That's what he said. Male figure skating straight. Jewish comedian running a financial satire site is trans. That's what he said. His words, not mine. I don't know if you saw that, but like, it's funny. I love it when there's a few accounts that post the side by side, just to show how stupid, like how much of a bullshit this all is. But there was one recently. Same day, Disney came out and it was like, we celebrate diversity so much, blah, blah, blah. Couldn't be more proud of our gay brothers and sisters. And it was the same day that they removed the lesbian kiss from the foreign release.
Yeah.
It's the same day. The guy in the editing suite, like, hey, what are we editing today? We're going to edit our Pride, our Disney supports Pride, and we're going to edit out the gay scenes for China in the same day. And the execs apparently kept it for themselves. Apparently, the execs are like, hey, edit out that lesbian scene, but like, if you don't mind, send that footage over.
They should have probably been.
I
like,
want to just
they should have been like,
inspect it.
take out that lesbian scene and then put it in the commercial. They like take it out. They take it from the movie and then they put it into the commercial. Like, oh, yeah, that's repurposing it.
They do you think that when they went to China and they say, good news, guys, we took out the lesbian scene, the Chinese people said, no, we said no gay shit.
Yeah, lesbian's cool.
Yeah, what are you doing?
You don't think they can just pixelate the faces like they do with like Asian porn?
So you're not sure if it's a guy.
You know what's going on here, and they just the whole thing is just pixelated the face.
Every gay scene
it's just so that they don't have to like really.
in China they pixelate all the gay stuff, so you're not sure. It could be just sucking on a big clit in that scene.
I don't remember what this. I guess like when I was in China, being gay is like not really a big thing there.
We said no gay shit. Now we give you one simple command: no dudes kissing.
I feel like
I gotta watch my favorite movie, and all of a sudden now the two knockers touching.
Yeah, I feel like you.
Oh,
could
we
be
did
more-
not say a lesbian removal. So not the same accent, but you know me with my accents.
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna get. Quite the hodgepodge.
Guys, I just want to say that being gay is great. The Biden was.
By the way, it's Canada Day.
It's Canada Day.
Well, it's not Canada Day. This is like, honestly, we have taken so many W's not living in Canada. Right now, Canada Day, which is like usually a pretty big rager.
Yeah, it's a nice rage and
And
boner
it's
for Danny. He
for-
loves his country.
Love-
Patriotic fucking
Love the
rod.
country. Everything's been closed for over a year. Everybody's like, Canada Day, that's going to be it. And then they keep finding these mass graves, and everybody's like,
They canceled the day.
they literally are basically canceling Canada Day.
Well, apparently they're the biggest street in North America. I believe it is Dundas Street. They're changing the name of
Yonge
it.
Street.
Yeah. Okay. So
No,
it was-
Dundas is the
Oh, okay. So second biggest, but they're changing the name of that.
because that guy was a slave owner.
Yeah, but it was in relation to this, but it's like a sort of not even the same thing. You know what I mean? It wasn't the native thing, but anyways,
They're just rewriting history. But like, know how much of a hassle that is if you live on Dundas Street and you're like, wait, so all my address just changed?
do you know what they
Like,
changed
I
it
have-
to?
They haven't actually changed it yet.
Homo Lane.
It will be something like that. It'll be like it'll literally like you went from living on Dundas Street to like Black Lives, Indigenous, Queer, Trans Lives Matter or something, and then you're
Lane.
Like, Lane. It's not even a street anymore. It's not gay enough. Streets aren't.
I want Trudeau to come out and say this. Like, I just really support a guy's taking another man's ass.
I do like, though, that Trudeau literally goes, you know who's really to blame for this? The Pope. He needs to apologize for this shit. Trudeau literally said, he goes, the Pope needs to come to Canada and issue like a formal in-person apology. You're like, what? Is he going to quarantine for 2 weeks and go in the hotel and shit? Put him in the hotel, charge him $2,000 for the hotel. The Pope.
The Pope might get an exemption. I want Biden, when he does his whispers, to come out with his whispers, but also say kind of like some low-key. He comes out and he goes, I just want to say John McAfee didn't kill himself. Yeah. Listen, guys, I'm here to support women. If the deep state wouldn't start meddling in all of our lives.
You know, at some point he's going to fall asleep too during that. He's going to like lull himself to sleep with the whisper.
That is kind of how you talk when you start going to sleep. You go, listen, we're not following Tucker Carlson. It's just, I know that a lot of rumors are going around. He's got the nightcap on.
No, he definitely has the nightcap. Definitely has the floppy nightcap.
Have you heard the Ouija Mac song, Hiding in the Bushes?
No.
So that's what it sounds like. He goes, it's this, he's like a juggalo. Mm-hmm. And the gist is he goes, everyone, I committed a crime. Now I'm hiding in the bushes. And it's a whisper song. And the whole video is he's in the bushes going, we're hiding in the bushes. It's him and some other rapper. And the two of them are hiding in the bushes for the whole music video because they're wanted by the police. This is what happens when we're hiding in the bushes. Sounds very much
Can't
like
wait for the Biden remix.
Fauci's also been getting into the whisper game.
What's Fauci been up to? I
says,
haven't seen much from him.
The Delta variant. It's coming.
Oh, it's coming.
The Delta variant. It's in your house. It's in your drawers. It's in your garage, and it's in your wife's pussy.
I'm scared of
Stay away from your wife's pussy.
That's the thing, too, with Canada. It's like, even though it seems like...
It's in your condoms.
They're just going to shut everything down again.
Oh, but the Delta variant is what we predicted in the video, that the variant is very... So I don't know if you saw...
And they're saying it's more transmissible, but nobody's really like dying from it. I actually spoke with a comedian who I'll not name.
The Delta variant.
Who said he's like I'm pretty sure I had it. He's like I'm vaccinated. I've been pretty sick for like a week.
Well, they had the Delta variant, and Dana had the Beta variant, and I have the Alpha variant. This is what writer Wahajat Ali wrote about the Delta variant. He said, I see packed restaurants and people inside stores and malls with their kids not even wearing masks. I feel like I'm in a horror movie. The Delta variant. Boom, boom, boom.
Just admit you never want things to open again.
We're still in a deadly pandemic, and the Delta strain is coming. Boom, boom, boom.
But there's going to be...
This summer.
What's after Delta Epsilon?
The Delta strain is coming to your house. I also have another trailer for a movie, Mrs. Doubtfire 2, where a man dresses up like Miss Doubtfire to get a job in the entertainment industry. Hello, I'm here for the writing gig. Hello, I'm here for the job on the Lily Singh show. He dresses up. That's the thing coming this summer.
That's the new. That would actually
Mrs. Doubtfire too.
Because if you somehow got that movie made and it was popular, like the powers that be in Hollywood would be not happy about
getting a job.
Oh, what? So you have to dress as a be trans to get a job in Hollywood?
He's not
or
trans,
something?
Daniel. He's a woman.
Oh, right.
He is back as a woman, and this time he's
That's
getting
the thing,
a job in Hollywood.
But that's the thing. It wouldn't even make sense to dress as a woman.
Here's my writing pocket.
It would more sense to lean into like, do a sloppy job of it and being like, oh no, I'm trans.
I'm trans would help a little bit more. Well,
like
maybe
the new Mrs. Doubtfire would be like, are you a woman? You go, yes.
Miss Doubtfire is back to get a job in Hollywood, and this time he's transparent about his cross-dressing in more ways than one. Miss Doubtfire 2.
Yeah, it's like instead of trying to hide, like taking a piss at a urinal, it's like open and it's like at the urinal, be like, hey,
do not doubt how fire she looks. If you doubt her ability to do a job as good as a man, that's a good trans girls being like, oh, what? We can't do a job as good as a man? And you're like, I mean, you probably could.
Also, you're applying for like a cashier at Staples. I think you're good. think you do it.
Ms. Doubtfire is back to get a job as a first AD in a Hollywood film. So that's what's going on with that. Cooked Brains isn't happening. Prince Harry's here. Sort of a wacky episode, but also in other news, if you're an audio listener, you won't be able to see the Prince Harry is actually in the studio, and Prince Harry has gone full MGTOW. The suicide rates are higher because women beat us down.
He's got a black eye too. Just because Meghan keeps hitting him.
MGTOW Prince Harry has a MGTOW Prince has a black eye and a black hole where his wallet used to be.
Because men can be abused too.
Divorce courts are anti-men. I feel like my British accent's not too bad today.
I know, it's your heritage.
Prince Harry, you don't need that baby anyway. You got a bachelor pad. The divorce courts are fucked.
Oi, let me see my kids.
She's still in love with her ex-boyfriend, that Chad Trevor Ingleson, that fucking alpha Chad. She whispers his Chad's name in when she's in bed with me. Women be shopping non-stop.
Hello, I'd like to rent a panel van. Imagine Prince Harry rents a panel van.
Yeah. Women be shopping for a new country for us to live in too, where they pull me away from our family. So MGTOW Prince Harry. Universities are biased towards women, even though they graduate at a higher rate. Prince Harold,
Harold?
Merkel might be listening.
Yes.
Anyways.
His chick probably keeps a fucking...
Women are stupid. Oh, come now! You're just being on the nose.
That's not.
They're not as good as things. He's run out of talking points. Now he's just.
Way.
Yeah, that's just. You're not even going your own way at this point.
No.
Bill Cosby's an innocent man. Oh,
that's true.
So Daniel, you were celebrating that one of your childhood heroes got out of prison. William, a second William.
A certain William.
Us Williams got to stick together.
William Cosby of York.
If I was knighted, if I was still in my position, I would knight Mr. Bill Cosby. In a based move from Prince Harry, he will now announce Sir William Cosby.
You think Cosby's going to be doing
of innocence?
The podcast?
Sir William Cosby of innocence.
You think he's going to be like the fucking doing Reuben and all that shit? Like
just a couple comedians gapping it up. Yeah, just couple clean comedians.
He goes, it's the only ones who will take me.
I would love for Cosby to go on the fucking... Yeah, he's on Reuben.
Did you see the thing with the wives?
What happened
with Cosby,
the wives?
the fake wives? So the OG wife... Basically, because there were two wives on the Cosby Show.
Oh, no. Cosby's wife from the show.
Yeah, well, Cosby was from the show. Oh no, maybe it wasn't. It was basically someone on the show came out and was like, vindication, blah blah blah.
I saw that. So yes,
and then no, but you didn't have two wives.
The mom on the show,
yeah,
is what you're talking about.
And
she came out
like, "Fucking, you're crazy."
Someone
who was the other one?
Oh, I don't. Okay, let's just clear this up. What we're talking about. Bill Cosby was vindicated of his crimes on essentially a technicality. Mm-hmm. And then the mom from the Cosby Show came out and said,
yeah, Felicia Rashad.
Finally, you stay strong, King. Mm-hmm. Finally vindicated after, the justice.
This is what she goes. She goes, finally, a terrible wrong is being righted. A miscarriage of justice is corrected.
Correct. Yeah.
5 exclamation marks.
And some likes on it. Big ratio. Hollywood wasn't happy. I noticed Judd Apatow quote tweeted, and he said, "You should meet up with some of the victims. I urge you to do so." Very nice tone. Kind of a little different tone than he normally uses with other people, but Judd Apatow keeps it a little on the level when he's talking to his Hollywood cronies. If that was anyone else, they'd be in quite the trouble with Mr. Apatow.
I didn't actually know this, that he said that he got 3 to 10 years, and he literally said that I'll serve all 10 years rather than like acknowledging any remorse over what I did, because he's like, I didn't do anything.
Prince Harry,
the best
likey.
The best is like the Tariq Nasheeds.
Dude, the black community is pretty split on it, I'd say.
Well, if you,
I'll tell you who didn't quote tweet that positively. A single white person. No. White people are not happy.
No, of course not.
Black people are probably 50-50.
A lot of them feel like they're told in so many other things that they're getting fucked. So then naturally logic is it not possible that like all the race stuff and how we're getting fucked and everything else, could this not potentially be an example of that?
What did Tariq Nasheed say?
Okay, so
the gist of it was like, hell yeah, brother.
Let's see. He had a lot. His whole thing was basically Cosby yesterday.
Yeah, Cosby vowed to find the real the real.
Oh, his
gay
whole
rapist.
thing was he had a million fucking Cosby takes. I'm trying to find. Bill Cosby will finally be released after that racist ass witch hunt sentence that never should have happened in the first place. The bogus conviction against Bill Cosby was rightfully overturned because pulling illegal and unconstitutional maneuvers within the court system to facilitate monetary shakedowns is mockery of the judicial system. And I mean, that is what happened. They basically he got released on a technicality because they used his.
I mean, this is what they always
Well,
do.
that would be the equivalent of them convicting OJ for the murder because in the civil suit, he said
no,
that
I got it.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't
And
know.
it is that thing where it's like, you know how, because so right now there's like a ton of activist judges, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, basically, you need to make sure that the activist judges are going to be seeing this case on all lines because there's legal precedents, everything. But you'll see so many judges that, do cases, they make their verdicts based on their political beliefs and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't factor in the fact that you can appeal and go to nether courts and all that sort of stuff. So it's like, yeah, one judge can kind of do their activist stuff, but you actually have to follow the laws.
Yeah. And again, who wanted to be the judge during the height of Me Too, being like, Bill Cosby is innocent?
Yeah, I see nothing wrong here. So yeah, it was a rock and a hard place for whoever that was.
This is another good tweet. Bill Cosby is being released because the white supremacist culture of white women falsely accusing black men of rape is a travesty of justice and it minimizes real cases.
Stay strong, King.
Yeah.
There was,
How's your ass taste?
well,
That was his song.
who's that one?
Tariq Nasheed, remember there was like he had some raps.
Oh, I didn't know he was a rapper.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
honestly know
he
him
had
for
like
being
a
like a
s-
Twitter personality.
He had like a small period where he did some raps.
Well, I want to say that I'm on the side of females, so I would like to celebrate the 5th female pilot entering the Israeli Air Force. So a lot of articles about
Nice.
this, and
Seems
I'd
low
like
to be honest.
Yeah, for me, I would like. Well, they have bad vision, right?
Yeah, right.
All they can do is see in the past.
Snap.
How far do you think this goes? Are they going to be congratulating and writing articles about the
10th?
Yeah.
6th?
When does it end? You tell me? When do women stop patting themselves on the back?
I mean,
is it at 11?
I'll say the one thing about this is
The 5th.
I don't think they've been kept out of this because in Israel, going to the army is mandatory.
Yeah, it's almost
I've met chicks before, Israeli girls or whatever, who are like, yeah, I was like, literally.
Oh, they break your dick
so-
off when
But they
you
were
have
like,
sex
I
with
was a
them.
soldier and I was like, I shot people and like all that stuff. Like they're not like, oh, I was like fucking sweeping floors while like the men did. Like they're doing the shit.
Yeah, they're slamming your dick in a
I don't
Torah.
feel like I don't feel it's the kind of thing where they're being prevented from it.
Well, clearly not. There's 5 of them out
Yes,
of 100,
ever.
Daniel.
Wait, ever or currently?
Currently, I think I might be ever, but it might be something that's not that. But it was a big news for women that there's 5th. I was seeing these articles, and these are my favorite when it's like the 3rd gay person is like a regional congressman. And
Yeah.
And you go, honestly, the level of patting themselves on the back, it's like the equivalent of you coming home every night to your chick and just being like, I did a 10-minute set today. I accomplished that.
Yeah.
I did a second 10-minute set on stage. I overcame my fears to do stand-up comedy. I am the 10,000th Fat Gay Jewish podcaster.
They have 5 female fighter pilots ever.
You know what's funny is that Danny gets more Jewish complaints than probably anyone.
I actually
know.
got a tweet too from somebody the other day.
So people aren't happy. So Danny does
They
this joke. We'll just say the joke. We'll say that your grandmother was in the Holocaust.
Oh no, she has a camp stamp, but it's a tramp stamp or whatever.
On her lower back.
Yeah. A lot of it is people are like, there's a lot of like anti-Semitic. That's the thing. They go, there's a lot of like anti-Semitic, and you're like, first off, there's not really like, you see these odd instances.
Well, there is in my house behind closed doors.
Like you see these instances on fucking, CNN from like a month ago that they might be replaying, but it's like, I don't know anybody, like nobody I know knows anybody who has been like, oh, I was a victim of anti-Semitism. Like,
Other than like tweets that are almost close to shit posting.
yeah. And they're like, they have been going on since Twitter started.
Well, this is maybe 3 weekends in a row where a person has had a fucking meltdown over Danny's jokes.
Yeah, people be melting.
We had way more than me because I talk about that stuff a lot too, and I almost get no flack. But Danny's like Holocaust joke,
people
really flips people off, and it probably Danny got in a fight at the stand with a guy that fucking
not even
wasn't Jewish.
Yeah, I know. He was wasted though, but yeah, he wanted to fight me.
Yeah.
He like legit was like fucking waiting to fight me.
He was like, you're culturally appropriating anti-Semites by doing those jokes, and that's my material.
He goes, that's my thing.
That's my thing. But we were at the fucking like 3 weeks ago, we're at the show. Lady like flips out, writes on the comment card, storms out. Then this weekend you had someone.
Caroline's the woman came up to me and she was like with her Jewish friend. She's like, I'm Jewish. She was Southern for some reason.
Okay.
Not for some reason she was, but and then she was not happy about it. She was basically saying, you shouldn't do those jokes. They're rising in. She goes, people don't believe the Holocaust. Some people don't believe the Holocaust happened. I'm like, I don't think they're here. Like I literally said, I'm like, I don't think they're here.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And also like nothing about my joke is like, you go, oh, that's kind of makes sense. I believe that the Holocaust didn't happen. I'm going to use that.
And I also believe that, his grandma came.
Yeah, like in my argument of why I think the Holocaust didn't happen, I'm going to use that comedian's joke.
Well, the funniest part of that joke is you go, is it better if I do those jokes if I'm Jewish? I'm not. I just, I am. It's all better now. It turns out it's not all better now.
It's not all better now. No, it's not. To some people, but I had for every two, those people, 10 people come up to me and be like, "Oh, that's
lies." No, for every two people he gets, Danny's like, for every 2 people I get that don't like those jokes, I have 10 people that don't like the other jokes.
Yeah, all in all, it seems like a lot of people just don't like the jokes.
I'm Jewish. They go, we don't care about.
We're offended by how bad the jokes are.
Yeah. But we wanted to do a review because we wanted to support women in the wake of all this stuff happening.
Women are sick, by the way.
Dude, you honestly took... Did you know I was going to say that?
No.
You took the words out of my mouth that they're sick. You literally took the words.
I had no idea.
No, it's like you have a fucking invisible hand, Adam Smith style, that you shoved down my throat, grabbed my vocal cords, and found the phrase that I was about to say, that women are sick.
Women are sick.
And... as a tribute, what we're going to do, and I know this is normally the boys' cast, but we're going to do a tribute and go through the top 10 most successful and richest women in the world, most of them self-made. And we just want to go
all
through.
Of them self-made, even if they're not self-made.
Well, I think they all are self-made. So we're going to go through and just literally top 10 and just give props to women who have made the world a better place while making themselves a fortune. So number 10, Iris Fontbona. So props to Iris. Let's see what she was up to. She is the widow of Andrew. Oh, okay. So that one made the money
mining,
from a widow.
He built a mining.
He
and
built
beverage.
a mine. Well, we're not talking about guys right now, Danny.
Yeah.
He built a mining and beverage fortune, which she then. Okay, but. You know what? We'll just skip her.
Good for him, though.
Good for him, but we're not here.
That's not the segment.
That's not the segment.
That's
we're
not
not
the segment,
here
but
to
good
give
for him.
props to men. We're here for girls. So there's still 9 more to go. Gina Reinhardt. So congratulations.
She's Australia's richest person, not even richest woman.
Again, that's why she's on the list, and that's why we are celebrating her. She's chair of the mining and agricultural company Hancock Prospecting, which was founded by her father, and she inherited. Okay, so that's another one that didn't do it herself. Okay,
yeah.
So
good for
Gina,
him,
good for her for taking it and not wrecking it. I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she didn't make the money, but she was able to keep the fortune intact. So
that's something.
So,
yeah.
but I'm sure there's some on this list that top 10. So it's got to be a couple. Number 8 is Susan Clatton. So car sales recovered from a slump early in the pandemic, and they got a 10.9 billion rise in the BMW Here's fortune. So, inherited the
But maybe
money from
BMW
her.
was started by a woman.
No. Unfortunately, the mother inherited it from the father. So, Susan was able to keep the BMW legacy alive, though. So
yeah, I mean, great car.
Great car. So, and if anything, her dad probably post-mortemly learned from her. If her dad was still alive, he would have probably made more money in her presence. So.
Probably.
Number 7, we have Yang Huang. So great name. Yang Huang owns about 58% of a China-based real estate
Nice
developer.
little chunk.
Yeah, nice little piece of
Nice little chunk.
property.
Yeah.
So what does Bezos own in Amazon? I don't think it's 58%.
Who knows?
Her father, its founder. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Well, that's
we just
the gods of men. That.
we've upset them because.
And this is a tape that someone gave me at the show.
Oh, nice.
I'm putting all the knickknacks people give me, but that one was her father. Has been transferring her equity in the business since 2000. We're gonna move on,
okay.
probably.
That seems-
So props again, just for hanging in there with the money. Number 6, we got Jacqueline Mars. So a round of applause for Jacqueline.
Jackie.
Jackie. Jackie. Hey, red-pilled Prince Harry, sit down. This isn't a segment for you. We're trying to do props to women at their time of need. We don't need you to get involved. Jacqueline Mars, maybe she invented Mars. I don't know what it is.
The
but
planet?
She may have invented the planet. And even if she was the size of a planet, I would still consider her beautiful because that's how I see women.
Also, she has a net worth of $31 billion. So kind of look past the size.
Look past the size at that net worth. And she has 1/3 of Mars Incorporated, so I think she runs half a space from the sounds of it. The candy company and pet care. I didn't know that was started by a woman. That's amazing. So women started the company was founded by Jacqueline's grandfather. To be honest, she's bringing awareness to the brand because I wouldn't even have known about.
Yeah, I mean, you thought it was a planet.
I thought it was a
You
planet.
thought this was planet stuff, not
so
the
she
Mars
may have not
Candy
made the
Company.
money, Jacqueline Mars, but to be completely honest, and this is on the level right now, I did not know and wouldn't have thought that Mars was named after a guy named Mars. I actually lost a bet. There's a company called Wetzel's Pretzels, if you're familiar.
Yeah.
And I bet $100 to Waldo
That it wasn't.
the guy's name wasn't Wetzel.
I would have bet that it was.
I for some reason I thought the name wasn't Wetzel. Well, I don't know. So your name's Wetzel, and you go, you start a company that rhymes with your name.
Oh, I'm sure he was like trying to figure out, and he goes, Wetzel. He came up with the name first.
That's what
and
I'm
then-
saying. So, but would you start a pan company because your name's Dan and you go Dan's Pans? Imagine I started a Brian company where I prostitute men named Brian just because
Not
Ryan's
the
Brian.
worst idea.
A male prostitute company called Ryan's Brian's.
Brian's.
Just because my name's Ryan. So I thought
You're the pimp and they're the Brian's.
Yeah, so I have a history of not thinking Mars. I didn't think Mars was
Ron's
based on the
Johns?
thing. Well, again, Jacqueline.
You have-
We're going to have to move on to number 5. We're in the top fucking stretch. So there's going to be some fucking heavy hitting women right here. And I do not mean weight once again, but even if I do, these are rich women, powerful women. I do not mean strength wise. They're beautiful, beautiful, rich, powerful. And if anything, those top 5 that haven't started the companies, that just goes to show you that we actually need more diversity in startup founders.
I agree.
So what they should do is once men start companies, they should replace the founder around the 5-year mark with a woman. I think that should be government mandated. We have Miriam Adelson now controls 56% stake in the casino operator in Las Vegas Sands that was formerly owned by her husband. All right, guys, we should have looked at this list before. So she took her
Good
husband's
casino, though.
good casino, and I'm sure that
And also, this family is they're the ones who, like that birthright thing.
okay,
That's like they fund it.
they fund it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
they're sending Jews to Israel.
sending Jews to
So
Israel.
that's something.
So props to her.
But it was
for
still him.
behind every man.
But it was still him, though.
I do, but at the same time, behind every great man, there's a woman in front of him taking the credit.
That's
Did I say that saying wrong? Number 4, Julia Koch, and I'm sure she made the money, and the widow of David Koch. Well, you know what? I actually do, in this case, want to applaud her for putting in the hard work of waiting for him to die.
Yeah, that's something.
That's something. Mackenzie Scott from that's Amazon. So number 2, I think self-made woman, Alice Walton. So daughter of Sam Walton, lost her spot at the world's richest women. Well,
Oprah's not on this list, huh?
no, Oprah's not on this list.
Oprah, she's kind of self-made, though.
I think Oprah is self-made other than that guy. What's that guy's name? Number 1, Francois Bettencoat Myers and family. She inherited her fortune from her mother, So, the number one inherited her fortune from her mother, whose father, Eugene Schuler, founded L'Oreal. Okay, so... You know what? We'll come back next week with a better tribute to women.
Yeah, we gotta do more research, I think.
Yeah, we have
the
to do
problem
more.
is we didn't...
I didn't look at the list.
Do you think there's any players in the WNBA who might be on this list?
Yeah, maybe.
They've been making...
I think.
They're
You know what would
making some
be
scratch.
big if a man
Yeah.
made all his money and then turned to trans, and then you could have like if
And that would be the world's...
like if Elon Musk just went trans for a day to be world's richest woman,
And would it
and
be-
both world's richest woman and world's richest man.
That would be fine. I think that would be acceptable.
So I do want to apologize to women because we meant to do a tribute, and it turned out to be something
Women are
else.
sick, though.
Still sick.
Still sick.
So dope. So fucking
Just
dope.
in case there was any...
And before we move on with this episode, do want to do a shout out to the sponsor of this week at Ryan Long Comedy, Forbidden Clothes, who are now offering 3 shirts for $60 plus free shipping and handling on orders for $100. Promo code Ryan10. And if you saw my video this week, I went through some of the hate mail that guy gets. Did
Yeah.
you see it?
No, I didn't see it.
So this guy he gets like legitimately, because his whole thing is
Yeah, his whole thing, he's a troublemaker.
he's a troublemaker.
I mean, you wanna be a
He
troublemaker,
Doesn't like the
you-
vaccines. Doesn't
Yeah,
like
you-
Fauci. He would hate. He might make a base Fauci shirt, but I've gotten hate mail for like doing sponsors with them.
Really?
Yeah, people will send me messages and be like, "Yo, you shouldn't work with that company. That guy's, he's just like some dude." It's funny how, I mean, it used to be. It's kind of like OG conspiracy shit too that he's into, and I guess just like nonconformist shit or whatever. But OG conspiracy shit really got like tied up as the worst thing you could be right now. You know what I
Because
mean?
Alex Jones, like, I remember when it was like Coast to Coast was like, this is just like a fun...
It's almost like a wacky thing.
Yeah, it was like a hobby almost. You're into
It was.
conspiracies.
If
It
you
was
had a
like-
guy that was into conspiracy theories who was a buddy, it wasn't like, oh, this guy's the devil.
No, it was like, he'd say some things, you'd like entertain it. You'd be like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And they would be like the chemtrails. And you'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you know what happened with this, like anything, is conspiracies flew too close to politics.
yeah.
Wouldn't that probably be accurate?
Kind of. And then also, like, they were trying to, like, a lot of it had, I don't remember pre-Trump anybody caring about conspiracy people. And then Trump was like in bed with Alex Jones. And then Alex Jones, all of a sudden, like, everybody's like vilifying him for the Sandy Hook stuff. And then they're like, it's kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Where they go, anybody who's into conspiracies is basically like fine with, going to Sandy Hook victims' families and
Yeah.
saying their kids weren't killed and they were actors. And
Yeah,
all that.
that set it off. And then on top of that, yeah, it just became like too specific and tied in with Trump and all that sort of
It
stuff.
was Trump,
but
though. It was like just like so many things. It was just...
It was all Trump.
It was those people were kind of like close enough to Trump where they would go, okay, all conspiracy people are bad.
Well, the clothes are more forbidden than a ball gag and leather, which leads me into the next segment, which I will be talking about because this was probably the most requested segment on the show. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff too, but this one I'm going to go through because this is the Washington Post who did an article that said,
The Jeff Bezos Times.
yeah, the Jeff Bezos Times.
Bezos.
Pretty wild. It's kind of that idea where everyone kind of talks about this, they're like, oh, first you say
No,
that,
there's literally where you go, what, we're going to get dogs are marrying each
yeah,
other?
exactly. And then they're like, what's wrong with that? So the article is about Pride Month kink consent. And she says, yes, my kids should be at the kink should be at Pride is the premise of her article. And it's a woman saying why kink, like, which is ball gags. Danny, you elaborate. This is sort of your
it's
domain.
like furry. You're dressed as a furry.
Furry would be
kink.
probably in the less aggressive sect. The more aggressive sect is like, wearing basically a thong. You're on a leash with another guy whipping you and all that
Yeah,
sort of
just
stuff.
pretty normal stuff.
Having having people spit in your mouth. But she said, our family often took the train to Philadelphia when we were young. But as we rode across the bridge to attend the Pride, my wife's leg bounced with nervous jitter. She squeezed my hand, worried that she might run into a colleague or be harassed by a stranger. My wife is trans, but she wasn't out at the time. With our children, now we're at the parade, and our children grew tired of marching. We plopped onto a nearby curb. Just as we got settled, our elementary schooler pointed in the direction of oncoming floats, raised an eyebrow at a bare-chested man in dark sunglasses whose black leather suspenders clipped onto a leather thong.
Nice. Pretty fucking hot.
You didn't tell me you went to Pride.
Pretty fucking hot, dude.
The man paused to be spanked playfully by a partner with a flog. What are they doing? My curious kid asked as our toddler cheered them on. I told you my first memory of Pride was we were in a car going to the Ontario place, and we got stuck in the car in the Pride parade, and someone came in the window wearing like leather, and he goes, "We're proud, we're gay, so get out of our way." Funniest thing ever. The pair was on a few dozen kinksters who danced up and down the streets, laughing together as they twirled their whips and batons, some leading companions in leashes. At the time, my children were too young to understand the nuance of the situation. I told them the truth. These folks were members of the community, celebrating who they are and what they do. So it doesn't sound that crazy right now.
No.
But then they said, so respectability politics demand that queer people assimilate as much as possible into cis and heteronormative, hewing to mainstream cultural standards. Including kink and pride, open space for the families to have necessary and powerful conversations with young people about health, safety, consent, and most uniquely, pleasure.
I love consent, by the way.
I love consent, and I love talking to young kids about how people can be pleasured.
How to pleasure themselves.
We don't talk to our children enough about pursuing sex to fulfill carnal needs and the delight to captivate us in our moment. What do you think?
Definitely not enough.
Do you think we talk to the kids enough about...
No, the dialogues need to open.
The dialogues with 7-year-olds about how to fulfill themselves pleasure.
And just like,
prepubescent children for sure.
Yeah, just different.
You know what? Like LGBT, like a lot of these activists turned into? They turned into like a bad stepdad that's like showing your kid porn way too early. Like that, they turned into a bad stepdad that's kind of like, kids, come here. I want to show you something. This right here. It's called a BBC.
They're like fucking religious zealots. Just the other way. They're instead of God hates fags, they're God loves fags, and they're like
God demands them.
God demands fags, and they're like, they're protesting and outside of stuff, and they're like,
dude, teaching your fucking 8-year-old about like what's fucking how to get the most pleasure, like
yeah.
So your clit's gonna be stimulated. You go, I don't
your
know.
clit gets engorged, as does and you're like, what? The fuck?
That's you go, I get, it's one of those things where all the gay people that are just your average person, but sexually they're gay.
Uh-huh.
And this is what they said. They go, it turns it into heteronormative. Like if you're making the pride parade it's like, yeah, and 90% of gay people are that. They're like, they're standards. You go, what places has standards where you teach your kids about sex other than maybe Rome,
Yeah.
where the kids are treated like fucking objects for the wealthy? And Hollywood,
or you're like, just in pretty fucking vanilla like sex ed class when you're 10 or 11, like. Just,
well, yeah, if you want, but if my teacher was forced to show me, you show up.
Like
to
your
class.
teacher just shows up in a ball gag and goes, "We're gonna learn some things today, kids."
All right, I'm gonna bring my partner Jerome in. Okay, this is called getting down on all fours like a cum slut that you are. Okay. So the funny, it starts out where they're just like, everyone should be included. And then they're like, we should teach our kids about sex. And you're just like, have fun.
Yeah.
You're allowed, but you go, it's also the give them an inch, take a mile thing where it's like, if you just said, whatever, be engaged about this, it's like, no, these people have a obsession with combining causes. Uh-huh. So they can't just be like gay pride. They have to be like, it's like
we're for kink and freeing Palestine.
Yeah.
And you're like,
because what they want to say is if you're into kink, like you're the guy that goes, I need to go to the place where I fucking pay the money, have myself put in a harness. And they go, if you think that's weird, you're homophobic. They want to piggyback off the fact that people don't care if you're gay. Mm-hmm. That's probably the best way to describe it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So what they do is basically almost no one cares if you're gay. So they need to go, well, people feel weird about teaching our kids about ball gags in our mouth. So we go, hey, can we use a bit of that gay clout? Please, sir, can I have some clout?
May I have some
clout? May I use some of that gay clout capital?
What? Like
for my kink shame.
I don't have a subscription to this Washington Post, the Jeff Bezos Times, but like what do they list specific kinks or just kink in general?
Maybe. No, they were going into it.
Yeah.
But it's the one that they're talking about is like a guy getting spanked by another man and whatever. And you go, I can see if you go, listen, I'm not going to bring my kids to Pride if that's what it's going to be. I can also see how people, and they go, it's kind of an adult parade. And that's what's going on there. And I can also see how other people say, that are in part of the gay community be like, hey, why don't we just not do that stuff because we want to make it like pretty
more
kid friendly.
Well, the thing
right?
is, imagine you're still on the fence about going to Pride, and then you're like, "Wait, this is what it is now." Like you weren't, like you were like on the fence about it going 10 years ago, and then
it was
like,
pretty aggressive in Toronto.
I guess it was always
already.
been pretty aggressive. Yeah, I guess it's always been.
And you know, it is what it is. If you want your kids to go to that, fine. But it's like the part where you're like, we need like they couldn't just stop at like, yeah, we're gonna fucking show our kids sex shit when they're 7. They go. And everyone should.
Yeah, like it should be mandatory.
You're homophobic if you don't. It was like, just do your fucking weird shit. Bring your kids to your weird shit. But you have to. They can't. It's the just girl shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can't just leave it at that. One thing that I was gonna say is they've had some fucking wild takes lately. Where there was an article that said, parents being urged to ask their babies permission before they change their nappy. It's a British article, and it came out, and it was a
consent?
It's a video, right?
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's a new one.
Oh, there's a new one.
There's a new one, and it kind of going viral again. And basically, it's they go before they change the baby. They go, you should ask their consent before you pick them up, and you go, the baby can't talk.
No.
Basically, their premise is you need to treat the babies like they're kings. If any other if aliens came down and they saw like all the little people, the babies, and then all these adults hovered around being like, may I feed you? And may I pick you up? May I change your shit, please, sire?
Sir?
And then you go, why are they doing that? Do they worship the baby? And you're like, quite the contrary. This is for them.
Yeah, it's for them. It's the babies don't understand the concept of
babies
consent.
don't understand any of this, but they think adults should do this, so they're trying to set some bizarre example by,
Who is the example for?
the internet that they made their viral video for.
Because like imagine someone's doing that, but like nobody's watching. Like that's like, like you're psychotically asking your baby for consent, but you're like, there's nobody there to like learn from this example.
Nobody's there to learn, for example. But then also when you're in the old age home, because Danny always breaks into the old age home just to check out the talent. And you're not going to just randomly change some lady's diaper without asking.
No.
So it bleeds into other lives. You start with asking your baby, but then when you broke into the facility,
facility
to do your deeds, do you think that here's a question.
Yeah.
Are white men to blame that white women got so out of control? Are we at fault here that, that a lot of dudes have let the flock run wild?
They're just like, white women are just like hecklers at a comedy show. They just think they're helping.
And I consider Indian women in the same category as white women.
White women, yeah.
I feel like culturally, Indian women have all the same sort of, especially ones that are here, because a lot of Indian women here, like they were kind of like rich when they were in India, like their family came here.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like upper class kind of liberals.
Yeah.
And then they came here and they have all like, college kid, white girl politics, but they have the extra added thing where they're kind of not white. So they can get a little extra sassier. Whereas white girls have to a little bit be on the defensive, but it is, all this shit's like white girl shit. And I think that all now other people are all getting involved in it, but I did Michaela Peterson's podcast.
Yeah.
And the day after I did it, so I guess, there's these people that just kind of like watch people on the internet and try to, they
like the reactions.
Yeah,
like,
the equivalent
of
no. So the equivalent of like when someone's canceled at like in comedy. And then you go to a tour, there's people that just like email every venue.
Yeah.
Just being like, just so you know, this guy said some bad shit back in the day, right?
Yeah.
So when I did Michaela Peterson's thing, I had some people message me being like, just so you know, the Petersons are bad news.
Yeah.
So they just like watched Jordan Peterson. And he sent me a message being like, hey, I think you should be aware of this, but Jordan Peterson's talking points are linked to Nazism. And I wrote a whole book about it. Here's a link to the book. I think you should be disassociating with the Petersons. And he He wrote a
Just so you know, he is against compelled speech.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Hitler also
that.
like he'll say things like Hitler also said like a country's important or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he made a whole like list of things that Jordan Peterson said and why it's the same shit that Hitler said, and he wrote a whole book about this. And he spends his time messaging people on social media platforms.
But does he think it's a way to promote his book? Like, is this a guy who's like books not like a self-published book that's not doing pretty
I can't
well?
imagine this book's smashing.
But I'm saying, is he hoping that you read it and go, oh shit, and then you're like, yo, everybody check out this book. I was
Dude,
wrong.
open my eyes.
You go, I was fucking wrong. I can't believe I would go on this girl's podcast.
Yeah, more like Jordan Himmler.
Yeah, I'm fucking tearing out my University of Toronto diploma just because I don't want to be associated with a school that would hire him.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
And then I saw this other one. These are like the takes where it's run wild, and probably everyone's involved with it, but it started out from white women and probably a little bit from white men being bitches.
Yeah.
Like you have to think that, you know what I mean? That's what our body was saying. We were talking about this earlier, but so there's this study that was super interesting, and it was a scientific journal. So, and basically it said, do we think, so do you know how the idea is, being an activist, it never ends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, so they did this study and they said, basically, if we're looking for something and they remove the thing, people start expanding their definitions of what it is. And they did all these scientific studies.
Yeah.
And they said, do we think the problem persists when it becomes less frequent? When the signal the person is looking for becomes rare, the person naturally responds by broadening his or her definition of the signal. So they did the level participation of colors, judgment of ethics. That's what the two things. So they did blue dots, and when they started removing the blue dots, people's brains started calling purple dots and other dots of other colors of blue. So it's the same thing as when you're looking for. When they said threatening faces, for example, so they go, when they do threatening faces, and they started saying, okay, how many of these faces look threatening? And then when they start removing the threatening faces, now that they have the word threatening faces in and they're looking for them, they would find more threatening faces and they would start calling very neutral faces threatening. Mm-hmm. But in the opposite, they wouldn't have called them neutral. So I guess it's
the crazy thing is with the dots, because you're like, here's a blue dot, here's a red dot, and then they're just like, there's no more blue ones. And then they're like, well, that's blue?
Well, our brains are easily trickable. I mean, how many times have you done those puzzles where, do you know what I mean? It'll be like, what color is this? And then it tricks your brain. And then you go, and then it goes, put your hand over the other dot. And you go, no, it was red. The way that your brain interfaces with certain things and colors and chemicals. So it is easy able to hack. But you can see, I mean, everyone's seen this, but they just did a study that actually proved it, which was kind of interesting. But so when you're looking for it everywhere, and also the opposite of that is when you think that your thing can solve everything too. So they said queer and trans wisdom is the key to surviving the climate apocalypse.
That's what I've been saying, actually. I wrote a blog about it.
So this is what they said. They go, they have lived experience that can help us navigate the climate crisis. Queerness is a rejection of individualism and capitalism and competition. LGBTQ activists have been the front lines of popular resistance movements for collective liberalization, and we must organize and fight against capitalism, colonialism, and white supremacy.
We shall overcome.
We shall. So again, jamming the causes in, but the climate change thing, I've been seeing some wild climate change takes where it's like clear. The weirdest part to this, and you go, China and India and they go, wow, that's white supremacy too, I guess. But
yeah, I want to see a black comic do you know how that climate be changing, like a woke BET comic from the 90s. Climate be changing.
It's kind of the answer to everything, though. That's what I was saying. When you find it's also the solution for everything, where it's like, hey, how do I open this jar? Collective bargaining, queerness, white supremacy. What? What are you talking about? It's just kind of the catch-all answer for everything.
Queerness.
I know.
Queerness helps everything. The NFL.
Queerness, yeah.
You think there's an article somewhere how queerness and how queerness can fix climate change? It must be.
That's what it is. Yeah,
there must be like.
That's essentially what they're proposing. I saw some, but the other wild global warming takes, they said fat shaming is like a huge contributor. And the reason they said, which is like, how do you not realize this is funny when you're reading it? Okay, guess what you think it is.
Sorry, say this again?
So fat phobia is like a contributing factor to climate change.
To climate change. I'm trying to think, because it would be one thing if there wasn't fat phobia and then they'd be eating more, and that would be like increasing.
Yeah, you'd think that a little bit. Yeah, the carbon footprint and stuff.
Because there's more.
Okay, so what the reason is because of fat phobia, all the models are skinny.
Yeah.
So when all the fat people buy clothes, they have to buy the wrong sizes, and then they throw out their clothes. So it's because of fast fashion. There's more clothes getting thrown out, and they have to make more clothes.
So they're making more clothes, and then there's more.
Because the models are too skinny and fat people order the wrong sizes.
And then also maybe the fat people are like, because of the fat phobia, they're eating even more.
Yeah.
So there's like
fat
more.
phobia makes them eat more. And then another one, a good headline: white people are bad for the environment.
That's true.
I
mean, it is getting hot.
They are bad for the environment.
They are, yeah.
Well, so because of the activist stuff we were talking about, our buddy sent us this too, but an interesting point is the more people live at home than ever before. Mm-hmm. Isn't that wild?
But does that count? That's not counting COVID, is it?
It's counting COVID.
With that, I'll say, because they have all these in the stock market and the economy right now. They have all these things being like, inflation's crazy, and you're like, yes, if you shut everything down and then reopen it, yeah, you're gonna have these crazy spikes.
Well, inflation's because of just printing.
But also,
when a problem comes along, you must print it.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, also,
print it.
Yeah, if
print it good,
like, or whatever. Fucking airline travel is up 1,000%. You're like, yeah, because it was at zero.
No, I understand that component.
But anyways, that's all I'm asking is
but it is still up regardless. Mm-hmm. So it's highest ever right now since the Great Depression.
Okay.
But even without COVID, it was still at a 50% rate. And it went up the most in white dudes. Mm-hmm. So that's the point.
Italian, though? Because that doesn't count.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. It almost because if you make it a race thing, it's like COVID essentially turned everyone Filipino.
Or Italian.
Yeah.
That's like the thing.
Where you live at your home till you're 100 years old.
Yeah.
In July, 52% of young adults who resided with one or both parents, up from 47% in February. But I actually don't take I know there's a lot of, boomer conservatives that their take on it is always, and I have people that I know that are older that they're kind of always just like, young people are kind of snowflake losers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they don't want to look at their participation in that. Like, we have to evaluate our participation and not keeping the flock under control.
Yeah, of course.
But you go, well, yeah, because you fucking get worse jobs at a university. Houses are 1 million times more money. You need to kind of be rich to live in New York. And maybe you don't get to live in New York. Maybe you live in fucking somewhere else. But the prospects aren't as good.
No.
Especially if you're not one of the, like when they're helping women more.
And so many people are saddled with fucking a big thing is like all these people were told, go get a
huge
college education. That's the key to prosperity. And then it's actually the key to just like indentured servitude for the rest of your life.
Right.
And it's actually worth jack shit.
Exactly. So I think it fucking irritates me when you see these kind of like 55-year-olds. They'll like pull yourself up from the bootstraps types that are talking about young people. And they're like, like they're just lazy and this and that. And you're just like, well, why? Why do you think that is? Mm-hmm. It's like they do the same thing as fucking AOC where they think people don't move on incentives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go, oh, like everyone's genetic makeup didn't just change. Sure, there's some of this like fucking woke stuff that infected it. But it's like, well, where does that stuff come from? It comes from people when do people start being activists? They don't have as big a prospect.
Yeah, and also people were lied to about how things work.
People
were
not
even that they were lied to. Like how things work changed. Like the fact is like, when we were in high school, there'd be like the like two different classes. And, some kids would do like the trades classes and they would be seen as the dumber kids. Whereas all those kids are guaranteed, like on average, doing better than all the kids. No, I'm just saying financially,
guaranteed
right?
Pussy.
Guaranteed pussy. But also, I guarantee you they're doing better financially.
Well, that's
now.
the old saying.
It was before everybody's like, no, you don't want to be like a plumber or an electrician. You want to go get some sick office job. And you're like, those people who went to get that sick office job don't have that job and have $200,000 in debt. That plumber or that electrician makes $140,000 a year and doesn't have any debt.
Have you heard the saying, does the doctor ever catch up to the plumber?
No.
Well, the idea is that, so if you're a plumber and you're making like 100 grand a year, let's say, I don't know what the exact figures are. Let's say you're a doctor making 300 grand a year, 250 grand a year. So if you're a plumber, you do a paid apprenticeship when you're 18, and then by 21, you're making that money, right? So let's say first year is 50 grand, 50 grand, 50 grand. Then let's put you at 100. So by the time you're 30, starting from 18, you've made $1.1 million, right?
Yeah.
The doctor, they're in school for 7 years. So they leave school at 26, 27 with, in a lot of cases, what, $500,000 worth of debt?
Easy.
Okay, so they paid
Some of them leave later. I had a friend who's anesthesiologist. He wasn't done until he was like 30 or 31.
Right. Okay, so let's say you start at 30 with like 800 grand debt. And the plumber's starting at 30 with $1 million in the bank, and not in the bank, but they've made.
Yeah.
Earning. So
I mean, obviously, like, the thing is,
the differential now is 150 a year, and their differential is closing in on $2 million. So at 150 year catch up, and that's, these figures could be, you could jig them a little either way. Maybe we go down to 80 for the plumber. Maybe we go up to, 350 for the doctor, and we can make it 200 grand a year. So differential. Yeah. So if we go 200 grand differential and we're catching up to $2 million, now it's still taking, 11, 12 years. So the plumber is richer than the doctor until about 43.
Yeah. And for sure. Also factor in, like, wouldn't necessarily be a factor, but like if you were the plumber and you somehow got like a loan at the same interest rate that the doctor's getting and you invested that money, it would be huge.
Yeah.
Like
so
if you get a low interest loan that you can like invest for that period, like even in something fairly safe, it's like, that would be huge.
Yeah, I think so. If you include all that stuff. So there is like the incentive structure for people is lined up where you go, the not cynical view is, you say that if you're sitting in your house, you go, no, this is just people that think they could help. And that's why you get involved. The more cynical view is like, yeah, there's not a lot of possibilities. And you don't want to deal with like the failure of basically not achieving these dreams in a world where, you're looking at everyone that, everyone that is rich or successful and all that sort of shit. So then it's the same as like joining the army. You go, okay, well, if I do this, it's not about me, and I can not be failing at what I decided I was going to do. And it's that idea of,
I guess all these people are in the Doge army now.
Sorry, I'm not moving out, Mom. I'm fighting for my country in the culture war.
Doing my part.
But that's what he was sort of saying. It's like, when you look for things that aren't there, and again, so those things are there. I think like the people fucking millennials were sold a bad dream. That's why I'm always a little when everyone just like unabashedly shits on millennials. You're like, that's why the next generation will do better. It's because they saw. It's like the same reason why if you saw your mom go to fucking university and take out $1 billion loan and she's working at some bar, you're not going to do that.
And your mom's going to be like, hey, probably not a good idea to do.
But it takes a generation to correct.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's more of like, it's
and
not
the
even
in-between got screwed.
Like any sort of malevolence. It's just like the rules sometimes of how things work change on the fly. And you just get like, you kind of just have bad timing.
Yes. But it's one of those things where it's like, that's one thing that I kind of agree with the criticism of. And then people will be like, whoa, whatever, you're doing fine. Like whatever. And you're just like, yeah, because I'm fucking sick.
Because I'm sick like women. Because just like women, we're fucking sick.
No, it was a bad deal, right?
Yeah, of course.
And again, you can even say...
I mean, the fact that student debt somehow, I think it's not in Canada, but in America it is, where they set it up so even in bankruptcy, you don't discharge your student debt. So it's like, it's actual like indentured servitude. Like you have to work off this debt, and the only way out of it is death.
To the fucking banks.
Yeah.
Literally. But his point originally that I kept almost saying was they'll find like things like toxic masculinity in a society that has the lowest testosterone of any country in history.
I know.
Not funny?
Yeah.
But it's true. It's like they go, oh, look at all this toxic masculinity. You go, and this is the lowest testosterone country in probably the history of the world. Like, or maybe there's a few other fucking Western countries that have a similar level of low T.
Low T.
Where we're actually the highest testosterone of any podcast in history.
Oh, easily.
They're fucking so high T.
We literally have a guy come in here before every episode and just give us fucking testosterone replacement.
Yeah. We went to get the COVID test, and I just got fucking injected with.
Yeah, they gave you testosterone instead.
They just give me a fucking tea. I carry a card around that says I got 3 doses of fucking tea this week. Someone asked me, they go, "Hey, can I see your COVID test?" You go, "I'll show you my fucking vax card." I got vaxxed from fucking being a cuck. Speaking of cucks, before we kind of wrap this up,
Cuckoldry.
Danny had the fucking best thing ever. Okay, I don't know if you know what I'm going to tell you.
I don't even know. No,
Danny's little birthday gag.
Oh my god! Oh, this is so funny.
Okay, you tell us.
Okay, so basically, I went over.
I was before you even say it. This story happened, and so the pieces got put together from other people, and then I was in my house, like working on my computer on other stuff, and I just kept like putting down my computer to chuckle to myself.
It was good. It was honestly fucking. So basically, I was out with my girl. We were at this restaurant. It was like this really weird. So it's in Williamsburg. Nothing like you expect. It's a Thai restaurant, but it's like
Suit and tie.
huge. It's a huge restaurant. It stays open really late, like the restaurant, which is why the kitchen, which is why we went. But it's like all
Third
these like
dinner.
like yeah, but like all these like it's a really weird scene. It's like kind of like a club, but it's kind of like a bit ratchety. Like it's not like nice, but the whole thing is bizarre. So anyways, we're in there. We're fucking eating. And you keep seeing people have these, like, they have this big, like, birthday celebration where they bring you this crazy sparkler and they have this, like, sign and they come and then people take photos or whatever. So I remember before thinking, I'm like, man, a lot of birthdays here tonight, right? Like, I kept thinking that. So anyways, then we're eating. My girl goes to the bathroom, come back. I'm just eating. And then fucking they're at the table and they're like, tss, and I literally go, like, with the sparkler. And I go to the guy and go, hey,
she's Instagram.
I literally go, it's not my birthday. And then I turn to her and she's filming me. I go, all right, here we go.
You got punked.
I got punked. I got literally punked by a girl. So she's filming it.
Big prankster, Ashton Kutcher.
Huge prankster. They're filming and I'm like, okay, whatever. I just watch the thing and they bring you these 2 shitty shots, right?
There you go.
And then she goes, and the funny thing is she goes, I was actually hoping that they would bring us dessert. She wanted free dessert.
Right.
This was her big scam. She goes, I thought she was going to bring us hoping for dessert. And I'm like, whatever. I'm like, whatever.
Jamie Kennedy experiment Danny's life.
Yeah, it's my life, right? And I go, okay, whatever. We had our 2 shots. That was fine. Bill comes. They charge us for the shots and the fireworks. So, and the thing is like, I'm taking her out. So then she plays this prank on me, which I now have to pay for this shitty prank. And that's why I'm like, oh, and so it's
and we're watching it because it's Instagram.
Yeah,
story.
because on Instagram
group chats are lighting DP up.
Lighting it up. And like the funny thing is, so I guess what happens is because so people see that other people are doing it and they see it so much that they're like, oh, I want this too. So I think everybody's like, hey, it's my friend's birthday. And then they get stuck with the bill. So it's like a racket for this Thai restaurant where they know that it's not everybody's birthday.
They saw a sucker white man.
But because they're getting charged, they're charging for it. They're like, sure. It's like,
this ain't your fucking Western.
And then I was giving her shit because I was like, man, so I got to pay for this and the whole meal on my fake birthday. It's fucked up. Fucked up.
Danny's white rage was acting up.
I was like,
did you get white rage when that happened?
No, I was fucking red in the face.
That's when my white rage. People always talk about white rage. My white rage acts up the most when I'm paying for something for a girl.
Oh, this was the thing. I'm like, part of me would be like, okay, like I'll pay for the meal, but this prank is on you. I'm like, can we split?
Did
like,
you split it?
No,
no.
It would be funny.
Guts, you cuck bitch.
Can we split it? I go, just charge her for the birthday stuff.
Oh my god, that's so.
I should have. In hindsight, I should have been like, yeah, we're gonna split it, but not actually splitting it down the middle. Just charge her for the birthday.
If I was you, I very well might have told her to delete the story immediately, and I'm never telling anyone this. We die with this information.
No, actually, the fact that I had to pay for it, I had to get fin cucked for it, was actually funny. I go, that's actually hilarious that I have to pay for this dumbass thing.
Fin cucked.
Yeah. I'm like, that was the part where I go, oh, this is actually pretty funny. Like, because before that, I was like, you know, we've all been to restaurants where someone goes, like, everybody's been to a restaurant with some friends and they go, oh, it's his birthday, you know? Like, remember, like, fucking in Canada, like, Shoeless Joe's or whatever, like one of those shitty restaurants and they have, like, a helmet and they
you get a free piece of pie.
You get a free fucking whatever. Everybody's been there where they say their friend it's their birthday and they do this big birthday celebration. But the fact that I had to pay for it.
It's incredible.
Amazing.
Me and Danny were loving the idea of like when girls are bugging you to pay for stuff and you're just like, okay, you didn't even do the laundry, like, or you didn't even make dinner today. It's like we just eventually you go up to the girl and you go, What do you do
Yeah,
here?
straight Office Space. He goes,
The Office Space.
what do you do here?
Hey, do you mind if I talk to you for a second? We just me and the boys were talking, and what do you do here?
You ever think anybody's broken up with a girl just as a funny goof, just that way? Just huge Office Space fan. Not really into the girl.
No, I talk to the Uber Eats people, so you don't have to with your credit card. What do
you
do here?
Classic film.
And fuck, we have so much still to go through. So, but we're gonna go over to the Patreon. But I have one more theory. And again, patreon.com/theboyscast. Thank you to everyone that's been supporting us on
Appreciate
there.
it. I got to pay for these fucking dumbass pranks.
Yeah, the dumbass pranks, and also Danny is going to be moderating the Discord. We just started that.
Yeah,
so.
I'm gonna be fucking in the Discord.
Yeah, we got a lot of
Get on in there. We're gonna set that up,
stuff
or it's set up.
figured out. But I thought I wanted to tell everyone my John Mulaney theory because it's pretty good. It's not about him. I actually think John Mulaney's a pretty funny dude. But I
agree.
We were talking about we were with a girl at the stand with Silver and some other people, and the girl was like, she was like, oh, I really like John Mulaney because it's not like vulgar. It's kind of what her argument was, and I thought I had a point that everyone was pretty happy with, that I was happy with myself with. Basically, this is the best way to describe like the different types of comedians. So I'd say people like us, kind of on stage, do comedy like how you hang out with your boys. So comedy like you would joke around with your boys. And John Mulaney does comedy like you would do with your boys, but your wives are there too.
Oh yeah, and your boys do improv. Like they're like theater nerds.
Like he's, we're still having a fun time, but like the chicks are here.
Chicks are here, so yeah. You can't, we're not gonna say everything we.
Yeah. It's we're all having a good time, but it's above board.
Yeah, totally.
You're not gonna. If like if one of your boys got too graphic about a sex story, everyone would be like, "What are you doing?"
Totally, yeah.
But that
that is true. Yeah,
that's what we were making fun of. And the one thing that I do is I don't really do cheating jokes. That's my one like that I don't talk about. That that maybe you would do those jokes with the boys, but because it's tables, and I feel like it is a disservice to
the guy. Yeah,
it always makes me feel weird. You
maybe
can tell,
a guy's had a thing. The girl, yeah.
But we are joking. We know a guy that's a comic, and he'll do jokes. He'll be on the stage and be like, when you be cheating on your girl, and everyone in the crowd's like, what are you doing?
No, he's the worst because he'll literally be like, this guy knows what I'm talking about. This guy knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, come on.
And then, like,
every
to the girl,
dude here be cheating.
Yeah, girl, how many times he be cheating? When he says he's just running to the store for a minute, he be cheating. And, you're like,
and everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, and he'll literally be like, you don't believe me? Look, give her your phone right now. Give her your phone right now. Give her your phone right now. Prove it. Prove you're not cheating.
Everyone's in the front row like, no.
Yeah, but straight up, he's like, give her your phone right now. Unlock it. Let's prove you're not cheating. It's like, just, who's Melinda? Like, he's like, no. And you're like, and then she's like, why wouldn't you give the comedian your phone? Where are you hiding?
It's ridiculous. Everyone leaves the comedy club like, what the fuck? Because it's like getting pussy comedy. That's why.
Yeah,
he's kind of like, it's me fucking trying to fuck your girl comedy.
Yeah, totally. Like making her jealous, like revenge fucking me
it is,
for implying that you're cheating.
It is the least for the boys comedy I have ever experienced in my life.
That's not cool.
Anyway. All right. All right. Funny. Follow us on Patreon. This has been The Boys Cast.
Boys.